In Singapore, despite having little land, we have more than 160 shopping malls in the country. Whether you're in the east or the west, north or central, there will probably be a mall within a few kilometers from you. Amongst the large list of malls, however, few old malls exist. Over the past few years, some of them have disappeared under our radar unknowingly. Today, we'll be taking a look at the history of Liang Court. Opened in January 1984, Liang Court was the first major shopping mall along River Valley Road. Around that time, malls like Far East Plaza, the Center Point, and Parkway Parade opened their doors for the first time too. Liang Court was a complex comprising two towers for a hotel and apartment block, as well as a podium block for shops, restaurants, and car parks. Hotel New Otani Singapore and service apartment Liang Court Regency occupied the two 25-story tower blocks. The place would become an iconic landmark in Clarke Quay. Liang Court was opened by a joint collaboration between Wutalam Holdings and Daimaru Inc. To give some background, Wutalam Holdings is owned by Goh Cheng Liang, Singapore's fourth richest person in 2023, according to Forbes. They are a closely held paint and coatings maker, owning close to 60% of Nippon Paint Holdings' stake. Meanwhile, Daimaru is a Japanese department store chain based in Japan. They started expanding internationally to other countries like Hong Kong and Australia from the 60s to the 90s. Daimaru would partner with Wutalam Holdings to open their first department store in Singapore in Liang Court. Despite the mall opening in 1984, Daimaru opened its department store in December 1983. Liang Court catered mostly to Japanese expatriates, but many locals would shop there too. The combination of Swenson's, Kinokuniya, and Daimaru, all within Liang Court, made it an irresistible shopping destination for many Singaporeans. Things would take a turn in 2003 when Daimaru, the anchor tenant in Liang Court for 20 years, closed its doors for the last time. The pullout came amid a turnaround in earnings after a decade of losses. This will not be the first time for Daimaru, as they had been scaling down its overseas businesses since 1998 to focus more on business back homeland. With both the department store and supermarket gone, a large retail vacuum was created in Liang Court. The supermarket section would soon be taken over by Meidiya, another Japanese supermarket chain. However, for the department store area, a portion of it will be taken by electronics chain Audio House, and the rest will be converted to spaces for smaller shops. Just a year later, Hotel New Otani's management was taken over by Accor Hotels in December 2004. The hotel will be renamed Novotel Singapore Clarke Quay. Just 2 years later, in 2006, Liang Court was sold to the Asia Retail Management Fund. Asia Malls would take over the management of Liang Court. This would be the second time the mall changed hands when it was sold to Bidemco Land in 1999. Liang Court underwent major refurbishment works in 2007. In the same year, CDL Hospitality Trust would acquire Novotel Clarke Quay for $219.8 million, or about $552,000 per room. During the 3-year refurbishment period, the space once taken up by Daimaru was reconfigured into smaller shops, and Audio House was relocated from level 1 to level 4. The basement shops were replaced by Japanese restaurants and shops catering to Japanese expats. Refurbishment works would finally be completed in 2010, and this would be the Liang Court that stood till the end, although the stores would change from time to time. Under the new management of Asia Malls, coupled with the multi-million-dollar refurbishment of the mall, Liang Court was starting anew, with most of it very different from what it was when it started in 1984. New retailers would move in and the mall would have a new atmosphere. Periodically, Liang Court will have events running in the mall. They can range from festivals to exhibitions. Each year, multiple events would take place, giving shoppers something new every once in a while. To name some, there was the Hina Matsuri Festival, a festival to celebrate female children and pray for their continued health and happiness. There was also the Shogatsu Festival, a day where the Japanese celebrate their new year. Other than events, sometimes there will be Japanese performances held in the mall, with guest performers invited to perform songs for the shoppers. New stores would sometimes move in over the next decade. During this period, Liang Court's most anticipated new tenant was Uniqlo. Uniqlo, a popular Japanese clothing apparel brand, moved into Liang Court in 2013. Many people flocked to the store on its opening day, excited to purchase some new clothes. The mall will continue to do relatively fine, and it was a nice peaceful place for people to shop. Nevertheless, its patronage slowly declined as the years went by, and soon a big change might come to Liang Court. In March 2019, news came around that CapitaLand and City Developments were ready to buy Liang Court at $400 million. This would be the third exchange of owners for Liang Court, and it could be the final one. There was an air of uncertainty among the store owners. Several heard that the mall will be undergoing major renovations soon, and they will have to move out. Many owners were unsure when they had to leave and were waiting to receive notice from the management. Some also worried about losing customers and possibly moving to another location. During this period of uncertainty, a piece of sad news arose. Kinokuniya announced that their last day of operation would be the 21st of April 2019. After 36 years with Liang Court, Kinokuniya decided not to extend its lease and close its older store, seeking to consolidate and channel its limited resources for better deployment among its other business units. If Kinokuniya, a prominent tenant, is leaving, others would likely follow suit. Just 3 months later in June, the acquisition of Liang Court was completed, and in fact, many stores would have been preparing to move out. Come the fourth quarter of 2019, tenants were told by the management to vacate by March 2020 for redevelopment. On the last day of operations in Liang Court, the mall was like a ghost town. Many stores would have moved out already, and only a few stayed till the last day of March. That would mark the end of the 36-year run of Liang Court. It was clear that Liang Court slowly faced problems with gaining shoppers over the years, especially since the 2000s. Its number of patrons gradually decreased. But what caused the decline of patronage in Liang Court? Well, there is no definite answer, but there are some possible theories. Firstly, by the 2000s, there were many shopping malls open near Liang Court with a wider range of stores. Within a kilometer away, you can be in Orchard Road with its wide variety of malls, including Ngee Ann City and Plaza Singapura, or even Raffles City over at City Hall. These malls will have shops that cater much better to the locals than Liang Court, a mall that catered to Japanese expats. This ties in with the second reason, which is that Liang Court did not have a proper anchor tenant. Although big stores like Media and Kinokuniya could be counted as anchor tenants, their products are pretty niche. The majority of the people in Singapore will not come regularly to buy Japanese supermarket products or books. Singaporeans will be more familiar with brands like NTUC FairPrice and Popular instead. Thirdly, Liang Court was not very accessible. Although it had a strategic location, positioning itself along the Singapore River and right beside Clarke Quay, there were no MRT stations nearby, even in the 2000s. One can argue that Clarke Quay Station was near Liang Court, but even so, patrons would have to walk across the Singapore River and Clarke Quay, with a distance of at least 300 meters. Liang Court would finally have Fort Canning MRT station beside it in 2017, although it was too late to save it from its dying state. The lack of an MRT station serving Liang Court gave it a disadvantage over the other malls nearby. Raffles Place had City Hall Station, Plaza Singapura had Dhoby Ghaut Station, and Orchard Road, well, had Orchard Station. Lastly, what made Liang Court special was mostly gone by the 2000s. When Liang Court opened, it was meant to cater primarily to Japanese expatriates, with Daimaru and Kinokuniya as the main highlights. But Daimaru, the anchor tenant that took up more than 4 levels, was gone. Kinokuniya would set up a much bigger store in Ngee Ann City, situated right in the middle of Orchard Road, only a kilometer away from Liang Court. It would be more logical for one to head down to Orchard to shop from the wider range of books and have the option to visit other malls nearby. Also, From the mid-2000s, statistics would show that the number of Japanese expats would drop. A Straits Times article in 2009 reported that sales in Liang Court were being affected as more Japanese expats left. Statistics show that there were 25,969 Japanese expats in 2007, a slight drop from the 26,370 expats in 2006. Liang Court would lose its edge of having big stores like Daimaru and Kinokuniya, as well as some of its Japanese patrons. The combination of both factors led to Liang Court losing its speciality. So, what would be the future of Liang Court? Unfortunately, Liang Court has been demolished and Canning Hill Piers, a new integrated development, will take over its spot. It will be a complex with 4 towers and a podium block. Canning Hill Piers will have 2 towers of 700 condo units for investors and homestayers. With the remaining 2 towers, one will be a hotel run by Marriott International and the other will be a service residence managed by Somerset. The podium block, named Canning Hill Square, will contain shops, supermarkets, and restaurants. Looking back, Liang Court played a significant role in allowing many Japanese brands to enter Singapore and find their spot amongst the many other brands in the country. After opening its first bookstore in Asia outside Japan, Kinokuniya gained confidence in opening more stores island-wide. Other brands like Mediya and Saizeriya will benefit from it too. Liang Court will be the only mall that felt like Japan, and we might never see such a shopping mall again. Looking into the future, one can hope that Canning Hill Square can bring back some form of history that Liang Court had. Maybe someday, another mall will be able to bring a special atmosphere and allow shoppers to feel like in a different place, much like Liang Court. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in more similar videos, consider subscribing. In this channel, we'll be exploring the many interesting stories found within Singapore, our little red dot. I'm the Curious Durian, and I'll see you soon in the next video.